Welcome to the Boston Celtics newsfeed. This is Celtics Roundtable. We are powered by CLNS Radio, coming to you to preview Game 6 in Chicago at 8 o'clock. Boston Celtics lead the series 3-2, looking to close it out. Hopefully they can make it happen. Matt Ignal here. I'm joined by Mike Walsh, Jonathan Levy, and Evan Valenti. Guys, we saw in Game 5 the Bulls kind of implode in that fourth quarter. You know, they were hot throughout most of the game, and then they missed a million shots. They bricked them, actually, to close out the game. They turned the ball over a bunch of times, and they also sort of lost their composure with 2 technical fouls. We all saw Fred Hoiberg's post-game presser. Is this going to bleed over into this crucial must-win Game 6 for the Bulls? I'll leave it to you, Mike.
Yeah, so it's sort of a building thing, I guess, that's been going on. You lose your 2 home games while you're up 2-0 on the Celtics on the 1 seed. You figure you at least got to split there, and then you can come back home and win in 6. And they, sort of fall apart towards the end there. Robin Lopez loses his mind, goes full like Sideshow Bob on him. Wade gets a tee at the end there, and like we said, Joe Sway with the question about Isaiah and his carrying, and Hoiberg storms off like a child, and it's not looking good for Chicago if they don't get Rondo back to calm them down, I guess would be his main goal right now. I don't see how they come out strong even at home with that home crowd, and I can't see how the home crowd is proud of them right now.
It's a little rough there, Walsh, but I sort of agree. The thing is, we get back to this. We've thought about this for the preview, Matt and I, for Game 5, and now here we're at Game 6. What do the Bulls do to really counter what Boston does when they go small? And the one crazy thing I thought from Game 5 was that Boston, despite the fact that they're going small and playing, to their strengths by spreading the floor out and trying to, get as many open looks as possible, maybe from deep, maybe not. They like to shoot 3-pointers. But one thing I thought was crazy from Game 5 was how bad Boston, even though they shot a ton of threes and they shot 40 of them, they still destroyed Chicago in the paint, 56-42. So if Boston's going to go small and Chicago's going to get beat up in the paint anyway, what the hell does Chicago do to try and gain that balance back? What's the answer? I don't know if there is an answer for them.
Yeah, I think the answer is, make early reservations at the restaurant, because this is over. This is ending, people. I don't know how the Bulls are really supposed to come back from this, and I don't think it's so much an emotional thing. And just to be clear, nobody thinks less of Fred Hoiberg than me as a coach. There's no one in the world. But he didn't really storm off like a child. He just got up quietly and left. I mean, in fairness to Fred, he is the mayor after all. But, man, I don't know how the Bulls are really supposed to come back. I don't know strategically what they can really do. Having Rondo created some real problems for the Celtics. If Rondo plays at all, I think he's going to be like 50%, maybe 70%. That's not enough. I don't know. Like, they lose a lot of the rebounding advantage. They don't really have anyone to pass the ball. Once again, the guy who started at point guard for the Bulls in Game 5, Isaiah Cannon, 0 assists. I mean, they don't have anyone to create. Wade played well, but he is not a primary ball handler. And if they cannot dominate the boards, I don't know how they can win. They have to own the boards.
I think you guys both hit the nail on the head there. I mean, the Bulls were completely unable to guard the Celtics. The Celtics put up 108 points despite missing over 33s. Like, the Celtics should have put up 120 or 130 points in this game. They went small. The Bulls played Robin Lopez a solid 29 minutes, and they were just unable to defend the Celtics completely. The Celtics just got a million open shots. And although they were only able to put the game away in the fourth quarter, if they just hit a few more of those, the game would have been out of reach a lot earlier. So I don't think the Bulls really did anything to solve the Celtics at all. It seems like the Celtics still, have a giant advantage when it just comes to this matchup.
Yeah, but so would you say these 3 games that the Celtics have won, would you guys classify them as handily won by Boston, or were they blowouts, or were these close games? Because if these were close games, then I think Levy said, you're getting 0 from their point guard spot right now. If you get even 50% from Rondo, that's 0 to 50. And if these 3 games were close, like maybe they clearly were throughout most of the game, that shifts it a lot more than you would think.
Yeah, but the game kind of evened itself out at the end. The Bulls were on fire from 3 through 3 quarters in Game 5, and then, it evened itself out. They went cold in the fourth. I think that tends to happen over the course of a 40-minute game. I do admit I was worried as we were heading into the fourth quarter. It was just one, off quarter from the Bulls, and the Celtics got this thing in the bag. But I think that just points to the talent disparity between these two teams.
I mean, watching Game 5, Robin Lopez play 29 minutes. He looked good offensively, but he only had 6 rebounds, which is Al Horford-level rebounding. That's not good enough if you're up against the Celtics, right? You're supposed to dominate if you're Robin Lopez. He didn't. They're going to need to destroy the Celtics on the boards. I don't know if they have the horses to do it because they struggle to match up when the Celtics go small. Man, it took going down 0-2 and being the number 1 seed to force Brad Stevens to really put the pedal to the metal with the small ball thing and truly commit to it. But here we are. Jay Crowder starts at the 4. You got Jerebko coming in when Crowder isn't playing. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, I love it. I never want to go back.
The one thing, so like you think about like adjustments that Chicago can make, and the one thing that they've been trying to do is trying to find a way to slow down Isaiah. And like even with that, I mean Isaiah Cannon covers him all 90 feet of the floor. When Isaiah brings the ball up, they have 2 guys to basically meet him at half court. When Boston runs pick and roll, they blitz Isaiah with 2 guys and basically just dare him to find somebody else to pass it to and dare Boston to try and beat him that way. And Boston the last 3 games has made them pay. Like again, go back to that Zach Lowe stat, the 1.2 points per possession when IT and Al Horford run a pick and roll. Like if you can't stop that and you have no way to stop that, then what is if it really comes down to it, push comes to shove, like Boston is going to run that play over and over and over and over again, much like how Chicago basically finds Isaiah Thomas on the floor and tries to go at him in the post or go at him in some way. Boston as a switch to that and as a counter to that have run a zone basically to try and eliminate IT defensively on that side of the floor as much as humanly possible. I just don't know what the Chicago move is to counter, the IT Al Horford pick and roll when it comes down to it. I don't know if there's a way to do it for them. I just don't see it happening.
The Bulls probably don't belong in the playoffs. They just happen to be here. They're not very good. They went up 2-0, and maybe the Celtics aren't that good either, because without the Rondo injury, I don't know where we are. But here we are. It's a great place to be. We're going into this game tonight, and 1 win away from moving on.
Yeah, I'm trying to rack my brain here thinking about, like, what the Bulls can do, because when the Celtics go small and the Bulls don't, like, the Celtics just kill them with ball movement. And then when the Bulls go small, they can't match the Celtics' talent. Like, that's a losing battle. You got to play your game. What do you guys think about them still, trying to go at one-on-one with Isaiah? I mean, we talked about it before this podcast started, that how great Isaiah has been on defense, just kind of holding his own and not ceding much ground and forcing guys to shoot tough shots over him, which are inefficient shots, as we know.
You're making a good point there. I do like what Isaiah's done. You notice he is always kind of there, obviously not in guys' faces, but like in their chest area, I guess. What they do? We've been racking our brains for 10 minutes now, and there's nothing. Individuals have to play better. Jimmy Butler has to score 40. They're sort of, the barrel is empty for Hoiberg.
You'll see a lot of Game 6. You'll see a lot of Jimmy Butler. You see a lot of Dwayne Wade, and those guys just not caring about everybody else, because if it's going to get done, it's going to be on their terms, I think.
The Celtics are sort of built to beat a team just like the Bulls, though, with the perimeter defense that the Celtics have. The Bulls is on the wing, and the Celtics' defensive strength is on the wing. So that's really tough for Hoiberg. I don't know what he's supposed to do either, except to have his team shoot a much higher percentage from 3. They can shoot like 45-50% from 3 in Game 6. They're probably going to win. But that's what I think it's going to take. That or the Celtics to put up an absolute stinker of a game.
All right, the playoffs are here, and if you want to get tickets to Celtics playoff games, be sure to download the SeatGeek ticketing app, which is the easiest way to buy and sell tickets to Celtics games. With just 2 taps, using SeatGeek's seamless mobile experience, in mere seconds you can buy and sell tickets. And it doesn't end with the Celtics or any other NBA game. SeatGeek also has plenty of concert, comedy, and theater tickets available too, and it's all fully guaranteed. Listeners to CLNS Radio can support this production and get a $20 rebate off their first SeatGeek purchase. Here's how. Download the free SeatGeek app, go to the settings tab and click add a promo code, and then you enter the promo code CELTSNews, all one word, and SeatGeek will send you $20 after you've made your first ticket purchase. Download the free SeatGeek app and enter the promo code CELTSNews today. I have a theory, or I have a prediction here. I think the Bulls are just going to try and bully their way to the line as much as possible. Dwayne Wade can do it a little bit, though. He mostly gets guys with up fakes. And by the way, stay down on Dwayne Wade. How hard can it be? I guess it's pretty hard, but
yeah, I was gonna say, man, it's pretty. I'm not gonna lie, I jump out of my chair when he up fakes, so I'm out on that.
Oh no, I'm thinking like every time he has the ball, don't jump. Jerebko will jump every single time. By the way, every single time Jerebko will go for it, but Jay Crowder will never do it. That's why I love that matchup for the Celtics. But I foresee Jimmy Butler correcting that one free throw he had in Game 5, and I just see him going out with a lot of force and just kind of bullying his way to the line. I think that's a way the Bulls can manufacture a win, is just kind of get the Celtics in foul trouble, have them reeling a bit from home cooking perhaps.
A big question is going to be if Isaiah has another, what I would consider an off-shoot night for Isaiah, where he goes 6 of 17 and 1 of 10 from three-point range. Like, can Boston survive another one of those efforts where Isaiah is just, not in the right rhythm at all? Like, because the fact that you keep waiting and waiting for Isaiah in Game 5 to kind of take over the game, and it never really happened. He just didn't really have his legs under him in Game 5. If that happens in Game 6, my question again is, can Boston still muster and gut out a win? They did it in Game 5. Again, Avery Bradley was spectacular. Al Horford was great, and Kelly Olynyk off the bench was great. Can you replicate that?
But you mentioned earlier who on the Celtics, it's been one person a game or something like that. It should probably be Isaiah, right? He's one of 17 the last 2 games from 3. And you're looking for somebody to break out. Could it just be him? As weird as that sounds, obviously he's, doesn't need to break out, but break out of this 3-point shooting slump.
Yeah, that'd be nice, right? Al Horford putting up another monster stat line in Game 5. I think the reason, if the other team's able to shut down Isaiah, part of the reason why the Celtics have been so successful is that Isaiah's been really willing to pass it out of pressure, and he's really made the right reads in Game 5 in particular. But the ball generally goes to Horford, or a Horford action in those types of situations. And that this is the reason why the Celtics brought him over. Is in the playoffs when you need maximum versatility on the offensive end. He's extremely dynamic there, and even if they do manage to shut down Isaiah, I do think that you'll see other guys step up because Al Horford makes everybody better around him, and he's just so good with what he has to do in the role that he's given on the offensive end. And I also think defensively, actually too, he deserves a bit of a shout out. Just applying help early. It just seems like when a Bull is headed for the basket, Horford's there, and they generally force the Bulls to pass it out to one of their bad shooters. So just had to give a little bit of love to Al Horford there.
Again,
all right, final thoughts before we wrap this up. Go ahead, Levy.
2 things. Number 1, through 5 games, Al Horford is the clear MVP of this series for the Celtics. Number 2, the way the Bulls win is they pull a Tanya Harding, get somebody, Jeff Gill, whoever it takes, lead pipe, Isaiah Thomas on the leg. You got a chance. That's your move. Want a key to Game 6? There's your key.
Nice. I don't know if I can follow that up, to be frankly honest with you. I think I'm gonna let that ride. And here's what I'll say. I think that a lot of free throw attempts for Chicago is right. I think they'll try and muddy up this game a little bit. I think they'll try and play overly physical, maybe to a fault. Because if certain guys get in foul trouble like Isaiah Cannon or Robin Lopez, it's going to be a rough night for them. And I think you'll see a ton of Jimmy Butler and a ton of Dwayne Wade. And if they're going to have ridiculous shooting nights, then Chicago's going to win that game. But again, if things go to basically what you think they're going to be, if all goes to plan, I think Boston's going to win the series in Chicago, and I think they'll be ready for the winner of Washington and Atlanta, which it seems at this point is going to be Washington. But Atlanta's been kind of feisty at home this series, so we'll see how that ends up. But I've wavered on my number of games, but I've never wavered on what team I thought was going to win. I think the Celtics are going to win in 6, and I'm feeling good about it now.
Final thoughts, Mike?
I think what we've been sort of picking at, there's no moves left, and the only move, I guess, to follow up Tanya Harding would be the Star Wars reference of help us Rajon Rondo, you're our only hope.
What a podcast.
Right.
You have a Tanya Harding and a Star Wars reference.
Ended in style. All right. Follow us on Twitter at CLNS Roundtable. Be sure to subscribe to the Boston Celtics news feed. Rate us on iTunes. Give us a review. That really helps us out. So for Mike Walsh, Jonathan Levy, and Evan Valenti, I'm Matt Ignal. We'll be back tomorrow following Game 6. Hopefully we'll be in a good mood for that, so stay tuned. And, yeah, thanks for listening. All right.
Woo. All right, man.
Woo.
I'm out.
Good stuff.
I'll see you guys.
On, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah. Appreciate it, buddy.
Right.
Yeah, we need more people on the news feed collaborating. We're all in this together.
If you want to get Joe Sway, and the first question of Joe Sway, what's it like to be famous, brother?